The Playground House and construction just got a huge update, with construction now going up to the max level of 120, and the Playground House is now fully customizable with over 650 pieces of furniture to decorate your little house with. It is fantastic. I've been playing RuneScape probably more than I have in a very long time. I stayed up till 3 a.m. on a work night to build my house and play SimScape, essentially. And then I regret nothing, actually. It was fantastic. I had a bunch of fun. Look at my garden. Isn't that like, dude, you can't tell me this ain't sick. But with the Playground House update, there are a ton of new things like the Teleport Nexus, a fairy ring inside of your home, and an abundance of small children running around hitting things. But there are some problems with the Playground update that I do want to discuss, because I do think that there could be a few improvements here, and we're going to cover everything good, bad, and what I would like to see improved with the Playground House, as well with the construction skill. So thank you so much for watching. Let's get right into it, ladies and germs. First, let's start off with the good stuff before we hurt your feelings. The first thing that I really love about the Playground House has to be the freedom. You can place furniture anywhere. Want to put that couch inside? Absolutely. Want to put this rug on the beach? You can do that. Want to put this beautiful chair in this corner with the bedroom right there with your buddies going on, with the cuctorium going around? You can do that. I honestly think that being able to freely form and figure out where you want to put everything in the house is probably the best part about this update, hands down. I love being able to figure out where to put everything. The little puzzle of like, should this teleport go here? Should I put these shrubs there? Does this chair really belong here? Dude, I can't even get to the line. I can't believe they allowed us to put these chairs in the bedroom. Because before, in the old Playground House, you were locked to the furniture being in one place. So if you had a kitchen, only thing you put there is kitchen stuff. But now you can put anything anywhere, and that includes the golden sink. This gold sink cost me 100 million gold, and I built that thing immediately. Not for the flex, but for the good of the economy. I'm thinking about you, big dog. In addition to being able to customize your entire house, you can also move into a neighborhood. You heard me right, a neighborhood of your closest friends, or 4 other alt accounts that you just use to farm anything you'd like. It's a really cool involvement and honestly a nice little social experiment to see where all of your friends are in their building process and defining where they want to be for the house. It's a ton of fun, and I really enjoy just randomly walking over to my buddy's house and seeing what they're up to. I really liked as well going and visiting other homesteads. The neighborhood is fantastic and a really nice involvement, and the homestead, which is the name of the neighborhood actually, is one of the best things as well when it comes to this update, because it creates player collision with your favorite people, as well as makes the Playground House a little less lonely. Because before, you just teleport into your house and that was it. There is no real livelihood around you, but now you teleport in and you're on your own little island, baby. Not that island, but you're on a island and it's yours. It's fantastic to go ahead and see what your friends are doing, see their achievements. As well, when you got a bumpin' house party and they're not invited, you can get a nasty Discord message, and that's okay, because you can just kick them out whenever you like, as long as it's your homestead. So don't get kicked out. But further than being a customizable pimp palace, you can end up making your Playground House incredibly useful. There's a ton of utility added into here. Teleports, workbenches, repair stands. There's a bunch of things that are inside the Playground House now that when you go through your player journey of going up in the construction skill, which goes up to 120 now, it makes it really cool to see the new utility added into your home and how it'll flex around your journey as a player. Myself personally, my favorite added addition to the house has to be the soup bowl. Ladies and gentlemen, may I present to you the Arcane Potion Cauldron. This bad boy can hold up to, I think, like 300 doses of a designated potion. So for me, I have Elder Overload Salves in here, which is easily the best potion in the game, by the way. 138k a dose, mind you. It is the strongest potion in the game, and now I can sip it from the crib and then go kill things for an hour without having to go ahead and sip yet another brew, freeing up some valuable inventory space and giving me a solid hour of AFK. It's a fantastic little addition that I have used multiple times since the update has come out, and I'm actually using in this very moment as we hunt down some of these really cool looking boss trophies that were added into the game, which we'll talk about in a moment. There's also the teleport nexus, which allows you to teleport to anywhere in the game once you've charged it one time only. You get these teleports unlocked to you, and then you're able to use them for whatever you may need to. I have been utilizing it for my herb runs when I do farming. This is a fantastic little thing because I no longer have to swap spellbooks at wars to be able to go ahead and do my farm run because I couldn't teleport to Trollheim on the ancient spellbook. Those days are no more. I just configure the teleport and go straight in. It's fantastic. In addition to that, there's a lot of other things, like you got the teleport nexus, you got the arcane cauldron, altars, training dummies, repair stand, workbench, clue storage, custom storage, and so much more, ladies and gentlemen. There's just so many things to stuff in your beautiful house. Speaking about the house again and seeing other people's neighborhoods, it is so cool to go ahead and see other people's houses that may not be inside of your little homestead. When you go in and see the houses because they're fully customizable, there is a lot of inspiration here. You can see some pretty cool examples I'm going to be showing on screen right here, but you'll see all types of stuff. And the level of character and just personality on display here is unmatched. In addition to being inspired by a bunch of other players, there's this thing called achievements that you can display throughout your house. This can be in the form of boss trophies and cape stands, along with even your league's trophy pedestal. These things are super cool, and my favorite addition for me as a collector, there are boss trophies that are now collected by killing a monster. Like say you want to go get Bando's head. You can put Bando's big ass noggin on the wall. Same thing with King Black Dragon, the Calify Queen, and 45 new heads that can be mounted in your house, which are fantastic. I think this is a really good way to show like a player's journey, as well as just show, come on, so a little bit more of a flex item to say that you got big old Zuck's head sitting in your front lawn. All right, let's talk about the bad stuff now, because there are some problems with this update, even though I think it's probably super fleshed out. So don't take this as like, I hate this thing. I actually quite love it, but you got to be able to take some feedback if you're going to take the good stuff as well. First, the cost for the rooms are actually kind of ridiculous when you really look at it from a new player perspective. You're telling me this gigantic room that is right behind me is 500,000 gold, and then you're not able to go ahead and take a preview of where the actual room is going to be? That's a pretty frustrating experience, especially when it isn't necessarily the easiest thing to make cash, and that this money just goes away. For higher level players, it doesn't really matter. Like I just burnt 100 mil on my house, just rearranging and figuring out where to go, because I can make that money within like an hour if I get lucky somewhere. But if I was brand new, I only got 50 mil to my name, I'm gonna dump like 1/5 of my net worth into building this house. That can be a pretty frustrating experience, and I do think that this could be circumvented by actually having a preview system to see where your rooms would be. And with having no preview system to figure out like where the rooms are going to look like when they're in that spot, you just end up burning a bunch of money trying to figure out where to go. I think this could be fixed by having a preview system, which is also not in the game right at the moment, where if there is a preview system, meaning like you would be able to take a look and like where this room would be with this room adjacent, and then you hit confirm, where it will spend like maybe 2.5 mil building the entire house with that preview window established, you'd be able to figure out the floor plan and the layout of your house before you commit to actually placing every single room. There are a couple fixes to this. There's a website that somebody made in their free time that a player made to be able to go in and like have a layout idea of where you can put your floor plan, but I think that should just be baked into the game itself. That way it saves players a bunch of time just trying to figure out where to put everything, and it's just easier on new players who don't have a bunch of cash that are ready to be burnt just by building a house that is honestly a ton of fun to actually just make. Talking about the room problem, you actually can't rotate the rooms. So if you built the room looking north and then you end up deciding, I don't really want to face north anymore, what you have to do is then either scrap the entire room and not get refunded the gold. You would then have to end up taking all the furniture out and rearranging it in a different part of the room. And it's okay to have to pick up furniture and like rearrange it if you just didn't like the orientation, but having to redo the entire room because you just didn't want to face this way is a huge problem. And when you get invited to a homestead, you're actually not even going to be able to rotate anything. So if you get invited to a homestead because your buddies really like you and they want you included with the community, you're gonna end up having your house possibly facing a whole different direction than the center of the homestead. It's a pretty frustrating thing because if you really want your house to be facing the ocean, if you're in plot 3, you then have to rearrange the entire orientation of your house so that it ends up facing that way or not facing the actual center. My whole point is, if you end up getting the entire house flipped around, you should be able to have the option to just take the house on one side and just move it over. Doesn't have to be like all the ground stuff as well, like the garden things and like the pathways. But if you were able to just take the whole house, like the foundation of the house, and just flip it over and turn it some other orientation, that would be a really cool addition to this and a pretty good fix to that whole problem of getting invited to a homestead and facing the whole other way. There are over 650 pieces of new furniture to play around with, which is great. What isn't great is the fact that you're not able to save an item that you're liking inside of your house. So like there's a giant menu that comes up that shows you all of the furniture that you can look at. However, there's no way to like, oh, I like this piece of furniture. I want to make sure I get this piece added into my house. There's no way to really tell which one of these fences is that item. It can be kind of frustrating when you can't like star an item and have like a favorite list of some sort. To be able to save inside your house where you can preview it and then go outside of the house and actually build it outside. Because the way that you make furniture works is that you first need all the materials, you go to the bench outside, you craft it, you then have the item that you need to craft and put into your house. You store it in this little box, and then this little box adds it to your inventory. That inventory is then taken with you inside of the house, and then you're able to place it wherever you'd like, as long as you have the amount that you need to create. For me, it's very, very frustrating when you can actually make furniture inside of your house, but that storage box isn't in the house. So then you have to leave the house, put the thing in the storage box, go back into your house, go into build mode, and then take a look at where it is. It's a little bit disrupting in the overall flow of stuff, but I think this could be solved with one of two things. Don't let the workbench be inside of the house and everything has to be built inside, and then you don't have to worry about it anymore. Or you can add that storage bin into the house, and then you can build your furniture in the house, store it in the house, go directly into build mode, place the furniture you just built, and then it's easy day. That's what I think would be a nice solution with that. So either all in commit to let the storage bin be in the house, or take the ability to make the furniture in the house away and just have it be outside, and you have more players interacting with each other as opposed to being stuck outside and not being able to do anything at all. Speaking of super frustrating systems, let's talk about the boss trophies. Now, the boss trophy system is probably my most anticipated, most excited about thing about this entire update. I think it's super cool to be able to go kill a boss, take off its head, and put it in your house. Problem is, there are achievements. To me, an achievement is going ahead, doing a thing, and achieving that thing. But currently, the only way you can get boss heads is through an unknown drop rate from them. There's no way to tell if you finish the boss log, you get an increased drop rate for them, like it goes from 1 in 1,000 to 1 in 500. There's no real indicator of how you actually get them. I think that if you were going to introduce this system of achievements for a display gallery inside of your house, if you complete every challenge for that boss, and it naturally gets harder as you get into the harder bosses like a Masket, Raksha, next Angel of Death, if you complete all of the achievements for that boss fight, you should be able to unlock the head drop. And then like the head drop will now be available to you for completing the achievements. If you complete the achievements and you're still hunting for the head should be like a 1 in 200 drop rate. Still let people grind for it because that's all about RuneScape, right? RuneScape's all about being able to go on that big long grind, but being forced to go on an RNG hunt for something that like you've already killed, for example, like Krill, you should be able just to be able to unlock it if you complete all the challenges. This lets new players have something to thrive for, as well as existing players who have completed the achievement logs. They already know that they're an advantage because their time has been respected by completing these challenges. RuneScape is a tile-based game, which is really cool. It's based on squares, and you just place things down and walk where you need to. The problem with the house, though, when you're trying to place down furniture, is that a lot of things just aren't lining up on the system. The problem is that when you try and put down a shrub, for example, this shrub won't be perfectly lined up with the house, and it may end up clipping into the house or into other pieces of furniture because the tiles aren't lining up properly, and the actual model of the item isn't clean enough to be able to be perfectly placed. This is very minimal. There's not many items that end up doing this, maybe like 10 or 20 out of the 650, but it is a noticeable thing, especially when you got everything else in your room lined up, but that one chair, that one stool isn't lining up with something inside of the house, and that in itself can be a very distasteful thing and a, oh no, I guess I had to accept that moment, when it should just be lining up perfectly. In addition to like all the items you are placing inside of your house, this causes an unbelievable amount of lag. I was doing a boss run to Next. What I was doing was going to my player owned house, drinking some good soup, having my overload from the cauldron, then immediately teleporting out, going to Wars, surging to the altar, diving over to the center of Wars arena, getting my adrenaline, and then moving into the next arena. Within that entire time span was maybe like 15 seconds. I was stuttering super hard going between all of these instances, and it was extremely noticeable. I noticed it more and more as I was progressively updating my house, because the more items I was placing down, the more the game had to load, and it became a very unsmooth experience. And I have a pretty strong PC. I got a 4090 in that thing. I don't know, it should never struggle playing RuneScape, but the game was just lagging when I was going in, and a lot of other players have also noticed a lot of stuttering issues when going in and out of their homes.
I was browsing around Reddit to see what people were thinking about the XP rates, and I saw this comment. I thought it was pretty funny. I was avoiding training construction because I thought they were going to add better methods since it was going up to 120, and now I'm finding out the previous method was nerfed, but is still better than everything else. Am I cooked, chat? Alright, we gotta talk about this though. I forgot to mention this when I was recording the actual video with the green screen, but I want to address the XP rates from level 99 to 120 because construction did get pushed up to a 120 skill, which means it's a master skill, right? That's a really big deal when the max level of our skills go up to 120, but the XP curve from 99 all the way to 120 doesn't really feel justified. Like, the player on house is super cool. I love it. It's one of my favorite updates of the year. But when thieving was pushed up to 120, we got heist, and heists are very, very fun. I got 200 mil thieving just from doing heists because it was just so amazing piece of content that I did it post 200 mil, which is insane to do a skill after maxing it out that the game can handle. But for construction, the still best way to get XP really is doing Fort for Rent 3, like fort frame building and everything like that. It would be really good to have an XP or system where the XP curve from which only requires 13 million XP up to 104 million XP when you're going for 120, where if you had more options to be able to train your skills, I think having eternal logs, eternal magic logs, and have those added into the construction contracts would be a really good fix for this, because construction contracts are essentially what you're seeing on screen now. You get assigned a contract, you go and fix a building in Gillinor, and you go ahead and fix that thing. You get a decent bump of XP, and you can do this relatively quickly, especially after unlocking the Master Construction outfit, which instantly teleports you to all of the construction areas, and you can just go ahead and do everything you need to. This would have been a perfect time to introduce new rewards for the construction contracts, or just expand the contract idea. I like the idea of going into the world, fixing things for civilians, and then because there's Haven Hive added into the world, you have Canifis, there's a bunch of other Priftinus, there's a lot of areas that aren't unlocked where construction could be used at. There is a whole area inside of Burthorpe where there used to be troll invasion, and you could just build the fort and use that as construction XP. There's a lot of things you could do with construction to make it trainable, as well as just having a training option in the house to have that your training ground. You can make your workshop. You can literally construct your workshop and make that be like your training loop. I don't know how you do it, but the XP rates need to reflect the added growth and the added way to actually train this skill, because there's a lot of people that aren't 120. There's a lot of people that aren't 99. Having new training methods when you have an entire skill rework and expansion require new methods to do that, especially in the modern game. Not saying that this didn't take a lot of time. I'm not saying that they didn't put enough love into it. I do think that they should definitely add in more training methods to reflect the actual effort that is needed to get to the skill. I think the fort is really cool. I don't think the fort of Rent 3 should be the end-all be-all when it comes to training the skills for construction.
And finally, the biggest piece of bad thing about the player on house has to be the furniture limit. The thing about the furniture limit is that at level 120, you can place down 300 pieces of furniture. That is a lot of things going into your house, and it's very cool. The thing about furniture though, this includes light posts, floor paths, rugs. All these pieces of furniture all add up to your total limit. And even with myself having 300, I built myself a massive mansion. I had 25 rooms inside of my house. The thing was, I could only fill like 5 of them. I can't make every single room customized to my exact liking because there's just the furniture limit was not allowing me. Now, the reason why there is a furniture limit is just to kind of like help the server load, because when you do have all those items in, it causes major system lag like I just described before. But I'm sure there's a way to figure it out. I know it's not an easy job, but it really adds in a little janky piece of the process when it comes to going into your house, going somewhere else, and then going around, or going to your house and just customizing it and not being able to put everything you want. I don't mind having a puzzle of figuring out how to play out everything else, but fighting the actual limitation of how much stuff you can put into your house is a good problem to have, but it shouldn't be a problem at all. We have gone over the good and the bad of things inside the house, and I think there's more good than bad. I really love the customization features that are here. There's a brand new set of chase items to go for, and there's also a few things that I love polished up to make this update truly one of a lifetime. But there are a few things I would love to see added and improved on to make the house update even cooler, and what I'd like to see in the future as the game and the overall journey of going through your player and house evolves over time. First and foremost, I gotta see this furniture limit increased. I would love to see a base minimum of 500 pieces of furniture and then maybe a maximum of like 1,000. That is a big dream number. I'm sure it's not possible because of the system limitations, but if you can up the furniture amount by any amount, just making it easier to fill up all these wonderful rooms, it would be really, really cool. And I'm sure that players are gonna be able to figure out insane designs building these houses and redesigning them. It's a really needed feature to be able to up that furniture limit, and they did address it inside of their code notes and patch notes the day after the release. So I have faith that this team is gonna be able to fix it and do whatever they gotta do. Next, I would actually love to see that furniture be able to be built inside of the house. If you've hit the construction level, to be able to build the workbench and a storage bin, you should have the ability to create whatever furniture you like and then store it and then place it within the same instance. This would help a lot with the lag problem of going in and out of your house, as well as just reward the player for efficiency, because it takes out one step of leaving your house, storing things, and just makes a much smoother creation process. Let's talk about this overload cauldron. So there's 2 options when you drink the forbidden soup. You can drink it for 1 dose, which is going to be 6 minutes of overload, or you can drink it for 10 doses and get 60 minutes of overload. You can now actually do lanternine sticks as well, or any kind of instant sticks inside the pot as well, giving that full duration too, which is really, really cool. Why can't I put weapon poison? It has to coat the weapon. It's the same time-based thing. I don't get why I have to still add weapon poison when I could add sticks into a pot. I mean, potions are actually, literally, it's a potion. I should be able to do that with the potion. But I do think that it would make more sense, because it doesn't really make sense to me why you can put sticks in there, but you can't really put the weapon poison. They're both time-based durations, and the overload is also a liquid. So let's just make all the liquids addable into the pot. One of my favorite things about RuneScape is the armor. I really like looking at the armors that other players are wearing and the things you can unlock inside the game. I would love to see more display cases added into the house, like for Tumikin's armor, Masterwork armor, the Ketsi outfit you get from Rune Dragons. This would be a really cool addition to see what players are actually doing, and it would be a huge flex for the achievement gallery and anything else you want to put in your house. It is a very unique journey that every single player goes through, and the house should reflect a good chunk of that. And players go through a bunch of different journeys. They may end up in the same destination, but the way they got there is very different, and I want the player on house to reflect how that ends up going about. So having display cases with more items would be really, really cool, and I'd love to see more of that added in the future. The armors are a really good example. I'd love to see more weapon cases too. Let me put a fractured staff, or like, I don't know, Monica spear in here. That'd be pretty cool. Or like fragments of a bow of the last guardian or something like that, kind of scattered throughout the display case. That would be cool, like a museum piece. And things I would love to see added in the future, and things I would love to see added to the house would have to be more trophies, more achievement stuff, more small trinkets like barrels, house pillows, all sorts of stuff that comes in when the furniture limit goes up. More styles of the house, so like if I wanted to make it look like the Fort Friend 3 fort, I could be able to do that. Or I could have the house styled like wilderness ruins, like it was completely torn down in the wilderness. These types of themes would be really cool to see when the inside of the overall house, because that's just unique and variety is the spice of life, baby. Let me be able to make this giant gnome village house or a tree house. That'd be pretty sick. Door options, like you have different types, like there's no real doors in this house. You just kind of walk in places. Having doors to show an added level of customization, that'd be really, really cool. I'm sure there's some kind of system limitation, but I'm sure it's possible. Make it happen, baby. Make it happen, Jagex. And seriously, bro, where the hell is my butler? I miss my little robot monkey butler as well as my little demon butler. Where are my boys at? I miss them a lot. I'm sure Henry and Robert here are very, very well missed. It would be cool to have like one farming plot inside the house. Like you teleport to your house, you add like an extra plot. It could be whatever, like as long as you unlock it through farming. So like if you get like level 80 farming and then you have one herb patch added to the house, or like a fruit tree run or something for Iron Man, I don't know. I think that'd be really cool added in. And it just shows that like you could do something else for like fletching or herb lore. You could put those kind of things inside of the house for some added utility. The player on house update is probably the best update that has happened to the game in a very long time. We've been eating really good this year, and I've been really enjoying everything that the game has to offer so far, and the player on house did not disappoint. I'm excited to see the future of it, see the seasonal event stuff that gets added, and as well just see the overall updates that keep coming into the game. It's been a ton of fun, and I'll see you in Gillinor, baby. Go check out this video. It's a damn good video. Appreciate it.